Hello and welcome back to Tommy's Top Picks Weekly Roundup Podcast, Episode 12. I'm your host, Tommy, joined by John.
How's it going?
Excited.
Yeah.
Sorcery.
Sorcery.
It's so fun. Okay, so we're going to hop right in this week to the main topic, which is the new Sorcery TCG Kickstarter. John and I have been playing throughout the week in between Flesh and Blood and Life and things that aren't as important as Sorcery TCG. So where do we want to start with this? Do we want to start with the game concept? Do we want to start with what the Kickstarter is? We have 20 days total for this Kickstarter to decide your pledge.
Yeah, very, very short Kickstarter, and it's already hit a record level amount for a TCG. So get on that if you want it. And they did say, I was listening to Red Zone Rogue, and they had one of the community organizers there. He said this is a one-time deal, so get what you want out of the Kickstarter.
The Kickstarter is print to demand.
It is print to demand, but there won't be reprints of it. Like there won't be a next edition of it, I don't think.
I thought there's there's Kickstarter exclusive things in it, but there is going to be like a second edition printed after.
They said it will be like a revised, which means it may or may not have all the things.
Gotcha.
And I'm not talking about the special prizes. I mean, they may revise it, right? That's what a revised is, which would pare down what you get.
Interesting.
Maybe. And again, that will probably be based on balance issues and things like that. So it's not the end of the world. But yeah, get what you want out of this because there's not really going to be another offer of it. Short of retailers, which there is a retailer bundle.
Yeah. So anyways, some stores are by name.
Let's explain what is Sorcery. Go ahead and give a quick overview or whatever your thoughts are, just to intro people to it that don't have any idea what we're talking about.
So the elevator pitch that I've been starting to use is it is a game of chess, but instead of having your pawns, rooks, knights, you have your deck of cards that you have built. And you have your king that is what cannot die as your main avatar. And then you have a deck of spells and minions, and then you have a deck of sites, which are like your lands in Magic or auras in MetaZoo. And essentially you start by putting a site on your avatar, and then you can build out from there. And the sites become an extension of your avatar. So if you leave a site undefended, your enemy can hop on that site and just whack you with not being next to your avatar, but the land as being an extension of your avatar.
It's pretty good. Yeah, the way I like to think of it is like it's Magic. Like if the play field for Magic was a tactics game, so you have your lands, your auras, etc., that feed the power of your Magic. You have critters that you put out on the field, but then the field is actual existence as just imagination, which is what Magic has,
right?
Flying actually matters, burrowing actually matters, movement actually matters, and then spell effects are way more interesting because it's like a grid effect, area effect, or some everything that touches water effect, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Very dynamic. It makes the game exceedingly replayable, and very, very interesting. I don't think there will ever be like a one best deck because each game has so many variables on how it can progress that it doesn't matter how good the deck is. It's more about your tactical thought process.
Yeah, and how it interacts against the opposing deck.
Yep. Very, very cool.
Because you could have one deck that's very good against one deck, but very bad against another. Like a rock, paper, scissors. But then even in the games that we played, my deck played very differently depending on how I drew. I was just playing the standard.
That's my
fire.
Point. Every game is going to be so different, because it's just what you draw, how you place the lands, every decision creates a tree of opportunity, right? And so it's so easy to get a very different game. Even if you had the same deck stack, right, and you replayed it a second time, I imagine those games would be vastly different too. You do things tactically differently depending on where, I place this land here, place that one there, right?
Right. And you learn what your cards do.
Well, that's definitely going to change the games as you learn the cards.
You learn that your avatar can do more than just draw and move.
Yeah, so that's that's one of the things that's fun. There's so much interaction with the various pieces. For example, pretty much every critter has an ability with it, right?
Hmm.
There's a few that don't, but they have. There's a reason, like they're powerful in and of themselves, so they're great defenders or whatever, right?
Right.
But a large number of them have something like they can fly, or they have ranged attacks, or they can do splash damage, or so each thing in and of itself is kind of like a tactical core, and then you have all these additional effects like lightning storms and auras that affect multiple pieces of land. The
Or you can
water
play
thing.
Snake.
Snake.
There's this one card I have in the fire deck that basically you set off from your avatar, and it's basically this tidal wave of fire that just rolls around the board. And it's like Snake, where you can't go back to the same location, but it
Yep.
keeps going if it has a space to move. And
Yeah,
it's
it's
just,
like
it was so cool.
it's a mini game within the game.
Yeah, I drew it and I was just like, oh, this is
how
gonna
do
be
I do this?
fun.
Yeah. And it worked. You actually ended up
Yeah, and
mapping
then you
within the
wait,
game.
you hold the card, and then I was able to have it roll over your meat hook guys, and
Yeah.
then pair that with the same turn of doing 2 more damage to make it 6 to take them out. It's just, the interactions are really cool.
They are. They are. They're very fantasy feel. You really do feel like you're a wizard slinging spells on a
Yeah,
battlefield, not just like imagining a battlefield. That's the
right.
that makes it flavorful.
With locations that matter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the other thing. The locations themselves, the sites you place,
Uh-huh.
they all have impacts and effects, right? They almost all do something.
Yeah,
I think
they have
all
like
do, right?
Genesis or Persistent or like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
self-destruct or
Yeah, that one, the volcano.
Yeah.
Vesuvius.
yeah.
So it's a very very fun game. I think at its core, so there's a couple things. At its core, it harkens back to the old '90s card game, where it's just like very flavorful, very fun, very much about the story that you're building on the game as you're playing.
Before my time.
Yeah, before your time. It really is. This is like that style of card game. The art is specifically drawing on that. They have some really really cool artists involved from the
Right.
get go, and since the Kickstarter has done so well, they actually got the Frank Frazetta his estate because he has passed away. I don't know how many of our listeners know this. Probably not that many because I think our skew younger. But back in the day when D&D was like magazines and like D&D second edition first existed and Magic the Gathering was just starting, sort of thing. This guy's art was everywhere. If you've ever seen the old D&D stuff with the big dragon, that's him. If you've ever seen the Death, that's him. And that's a really popular. I think it's Egyptian Queen is what it's called. Was
Mhm.
featured on a comic book magazine. I think that was like in the 80s, probably before most people. But if you're looking at the old stuff, so the word that comes to mind is Conan. If you've ever seen a Conan,
Yeah, oh, it's very much that
piece of
feel.
art,
Yeah.
it's that feel,
Yeah.
right? Or that, what was the one, the Space Barbarian or whatever? You ever see that 80s movie?
No.
It was wild. But anyways, his art was kind of that style. So,
The 80s are weird. I never went back.
yeah, there's some really weird stuff. This is adult art. There is nudity.
It is an
They don't
adult
care.
themed
Yeah.
card game.
Yeah, they are not pulling punches on that. They want to have that and embrace that style, which I think is cool and refreshing. And
I mean, that's where the market is. That's where the players are, just people don't want to admit it.
I think
And some
you're right. I
companies
think
just
we
don't
have
want to
this-
target that audience, but a smaller company could, because if you have the data and the data is there, that the demographic is older now, that is
Exactly.
playing these games and buying these products.
Yep.
Why not target them?
Yep.
So
Adults are playing games now. You know. Yeah. It's
adults are
kinda-
collecting.
Kids that grew up on Pokemon are now like owning houses.
Yeah, like me.
So you can treat them that way. So that's pretty cool.
And they're
I'm
probably
excited
looking
about
for
it.
something like this.
But yeah, this artist first approach does seem to be an ethos, a standard within the creation of it. Oh yeah, and speaking of creation of it, the guy who created, what's the name of it, Path of Exile,
Path of Exile.
that video game, he's the primary creator of this, and he's been working on it in the background for a few years, and then past 4 years, I think he got.
So it's been
more serious
tested.
about it.
It's not like a new, just thrown together, getting started. Like this has
Although
been
there
in
are
development for
definitely
a
some
while.
holes.
Sure.
but they're filling it out. I'm on
Yeah.
the Discord, and they're very good about approaching it and modifying the documents necessary. But yeah, so he's a very good game designer. The game design's solid. Been focused on the art for the past few years. Everything is hand painted, commissioned
No
work,
digital art.
no digital art. So these pieces are gorgeous, oil paintings. And then he got some of the top names. The person who painted Shivan Dragon is in there. Some of the older stuff, like it's just across the board, like old school Magic, old school D&D. It's very much all of those same sort of artist feel involved. So it's very good art. What else is there?
Um,
Kickstarter.
yeah. I mean, when it comes to the art, I thought it was really interesting how they are doing hiding kind of common things that are in and on most TCG cards about like the rarity and the what is it? The set, what set it is.
Mm-hmm.
So the set symbol's actually down in the artist line, in between art and their name. So that's going to be the set symbol, and then hiding the rarity within the title, not of the card at the top, but kind of the subtitle underneath the art before it goes over what the card does. So if something says unique, unique is a rarity. I forget what the other rarities are, but it's
Exceptional,
yeah,
unique, and
ordinary.
common ones. Yeah, ordinary and something else.
But yeah, I just thought it was cool how they're kind of not drawing attention away from the art with something else, but just leaving it very hidden, but still, if you know where to look, how to figure that out, it's easy. I just thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, it's very flavorful. I think that's the key. Everything is like art and flavor first, and then the rest will follow. And it seems to be working.
Kind of like a hidden in plain sight kind of feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as an example, there's this thing called Screaming Skull. I'm just looking at an image here to give an example so people can grasp what we're saying. And then in the text, the text of how it works, there's a little title over that text, and it says an exceptional ruined relic of strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so because it's exceptional, that means it's an exceptional rarity.
Right.
Another one, the unique relic is the magnum opus of alchemy, or this unique relic. That's a unique card, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. An elite and foul felonious mortal. That's the description of sneaking thief. So it's kind of cool. It just adds the flavor to it, and they do a really good job with it. Yeah, and this art first thing is no joke. I mean, they have Jeff Easley's involved in it, Ian Miller's involved with it, Alan Pollack involved in it. I don't know if you recognize any of these names. These are Magic and other games names. Melissa Benson's the one who created Shivan Dragon. So old school, artists from old school.
I don't know what Shivan Dragon is.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I'm very
I don't.
concerned right
you
now.
said it too many times, and I have to say that I don't know what it is before you say it.
Shit. Okay, just type it into your Google real quick, and you'll see it, and you'll recognize it right away. I imagine.
SHIVEN.
VAN, I believe. Yeah, it's the dragon. It's the dragon from the original sets. It's nasty, and it was in many disgusting decks for too long. So it's a classic. It's from way back in the very beginning, I believe.
It's cool. I've never seen this before.
Alpha Beta, I think, is when that card first came out.
I've never seen that.
Wrong in the comment. You've never seen it?
No.
Oh wow, it's such a classic. Yeah, and it's worth real money these days. It's not a Lotus, but it's kind of in the same tier.
I can get it on TCG Player for 33 cents.
That's the was it not revised?
The 98.
Yeah, it's the later one where they printed that all
okay, here it is. $5,000.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? The original ones are not a Lotus, but they're in that range.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's iconic. Founder Eric Olafson, that's the name of the guy who created Path of Exile, creative director at Grinding Gear Games. Very cool. They ended up making this deal with Frazzetti's estate. I believe the granddaughters of him will be receiving the financial benefit of working with him. It includes that super, super iconic Death Dealer art, Egyptian Queen. I think Death Dealer 2 is in there. Or no. It's the Arctic one that has a similar feel to it
Okay.
with the polar bear. Yeah, very cool stuff going on with all that. And now Rudy's supporting it. So here's a funny story. We were looking at it. It got to about 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're doing this giveaway of the original like test print. And while they're at it, Rudy's video hit, and the chat exploded. Like, Rudy posted a video. It was ridiculous, and it was the announcement that they were collaborating with Zeddy State, and which was big news of that day. And obviously, Rudy being involved is also.
Yeah.
And something he said that's interesting, I think it's worth repeating, is that because these are all hand painted pieces, and because the nature of this game, where a replay of the same decks isn't going to feel repetitive,
right?
They are doing just one set a year, right?
Yes.
So
this is not. Yeah, this is not a every couple of months there's going to be a hype train for Sorcery.
No, definitely not. And the variety of the 400 cards in the first set means you'll have plenty to play over that year with one set. Just like I said, the same two decks against each other 100 times would not feel boring, I doubt, because of the way that the tactics are playing out. But then you can start tweaking your decks and optimizing, doing other things, and it will get more fun. Once a year, it fits Rudy's schedule very well, right? Because he's got the quarterly releases and all this other stuff. He's like, that I can fit in because it's only once a year, which I think this is a great palate cleanser. I have to say, after doing Fab Pro Quest for weeks, when we stopped to play this, it was like a breath of fresh air.
What do you mean? There's no stopping. We got skirmish season now.
Well, we took a break. We paused.
We had this weekend of a break. Yes.
Yeah. We paused and did something.
Oh, yeah. It's been very nice.
Fun. Yeah, and it's such a chill game. Like, okay, like things blow up.
Yeah,
you're gonna do some crazy shit. Sometimes it's gonna be over the top. Like, just that's the end of the game because they got that monster out.
And sometimes when you think it's over, it's not.
That's true. That's true. That Death's Door thing is an awesome mechanic.
Yeah, so when you run out of health, you do not lose. You have 0 health, and you are on Death's Door. And if you take any damage the following turn, so you kind of become immune once hitting 0, and then you cannot take damage until your following turn. And then if you take any damage, you lose.
Yeah, and that damage has to be dealt directly to the avatar.
Right, so it cannot be to the site.
That's a movable card on the board. But all damage dealt to the sites that you control get dealt to the avatar, except that last one. You actually have to hunt down and hit the avatar. And your avatar is your spellcaster, so that's the source of where the spells come from. Now, there are sometimes other spellcasters, but generally speaking, that's where most of your spells come from. So sometimes it's important to get them up into the field, but by the time you're weakened, you need to get it hiding, away from any enemies and well defended by, outside minions or whatever. Very, very cool. Check it out on Kickstarter. The most backed TCG in the history of Kickstarter. It is currently at 1.73 million, up as we speak by $1,000 each tick, it seems.
That's wild.
It was at about 1 million when the Rudy announcement came out, and this was yesterday afternoon. So in less than 24 hours, they've gained another 730. I'm going to say that's mostly Rudy because it was slowing down around 1 million. But it could just be the whole viral spread, like the information's getting out, more videos, more content creators, etc. I have been excited about this for months at least. I know he's been talking to these guys for like 4 years or something. He said in his video. But I saw it. I don't actually remember who I first heard of it from. But I started digging into their Facebook group like quite a while ago, around the time before the demo kits went out to Red Zone Rogue, I think, got one, and was it Louis with Kitchen Table TCG? Those are the only two I've seen. There might be other people that got those kits. It was right before they got their kits, and I actually tried to get one, but it was too late at that point. They'd already sent them all out. So we were looking at this early. I was super enthralled right off the bat. Tommy was hesitant, but then when he played, he's like, okay, really fun.
Well, I was hesitant because I was like, I don't have
Another game.
time.
I know.
Another
Really?
game. But then when I heard it's one set a year and it's very different.
It's so casual. It's
Yeah,
like,
it hits.
you don't
It
have to
just
be like on top of the meta or any of that
no,
stuff. And
no.
that's what makes it great.
Yeah, it's more like there's a board game coming out that has deck building.
It
Not to
reminds
take
me
away
of a
from
lot
it.
of
It's
the
just
other. No, not
it's
at all.
just it's not something you should compare to. Oh, it's another Flesh and Blood that you're going to be playing
Not at all.
alongside Flesh and Blood. You're alongside Magic, alongside Pokemon, alongside MetaZoo. It's just there will be a set a year ish, and when they come out, it'll be fun, and you'll play it throughout the year. But it's not something that has to. You got to stay
This
up
feels like the chill game to me.
Mhm.
I know you were saying like MetaZoo feels like that to you, but for me that feels like I need to get the math right. I need to, you know what I'm saying? It has that same intensity to me.
Right.
Flesh and Blood, not as hardcore because it's not as hardcore competitive, but it definitely has similar feel on keeping on top of everything. Whereas this feels like I can't wait for it to come out. I can't wait to sit down and jam some games and have some fun with it. And
Totally.
that's all it really requires, right? Nothing more. See what the hell I draw. Oh my God, what does that card do?
Did they ever mention any kind of limited formats?
So it was asked. They said as of right now, it's in the works, but it won't be with this set.
Okay.
So it'll be the set 2. They said will come out. I think a year after or something, about a year after this first comes out, and the revised version is going to come out shortly. They said like 3 or 4 months after the Kickstarter version, something in that range. So just to get an idea of the timing of things. Now, what that revised will be still sounds like a bit of a mystery. It seems like it'll be a bit of a reprint of this, but it won't have the alpha symbol on it. So obviously there'll be a different value collector standpoint. But yeah, I think they're a little worried about even printing the revised based on what he was saying. And this is pure speculation, people, so take it with a grain of salt. But he was very adamant to emphasize, if you want this, get the Kickstarter. And he's like, I'm not shilling at all. This is because it won't be available. Right. So I think their first print that's not a Kickstarter print to demand is probably going to be either very limited, or they're not sure what regions they're going to have it available in. Or, it sounded like it wasn't really well worked out. And so
secure it when it's securable.
Yeah, do this because this is the easiest way to get a hold of it. And he's like, and it's not going to be easy to get a hold of after that, because they still haven't, it sounds like they haven't figured out how to handle global distribution fully. Right. And again, this is me speculating based on what he said and how he said it, but he was adamant that if you want this product, just go get the Kickstarter, because it's not going to be the thing. Get the other stuff after that, and there will be some version of it, but they just don't seem to know yet how that's all going to work.
Right.
So because this they have a direct to consumer now, but the whole distribution network thing. I mean, we've heard through Flesh and Blood how the various nightmares that come with all that. So I think they're struggling to figure that out. So we'll see. They are in New Zealand, so it will have similar, I imagine, issues as Flesh and Blood when it comes to American distribution.
Yep.
Hopefully not as bad. Hopefully some of that stuff gets worked out, and obviously logistics and everything else. And he did say, so this is coming out in September, but he said, please bear with us if,
Yeah, and it may not
change that. Yeah, exactly. He's like, we're going to do our best, and we have it lined up.
The world of 2022 is weird.
Exactly. He's like, but paper.
Yeah. Cardboard.
Like, that's the thing. Yeah, cardboard. Sometimes that's the thing. But they seem pretty solid, and of course, game designer, game producer, top tier talent. I think they can weather the storm versus people that are trying to figure it out from their basement for the first time.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. I'm excited, super excited, as you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, the gameplay's there. I've enjoyed every single game we've played.
Yeah, and if you want to check it out,
yeah, we did put up a video.
Yeah, go check out our other video, and if it's something that you're interested in playing, TTS, Tabletop Simulator, has it on there with the starter decks. There's no deck building yet, as far as I can tell.
No.
But it is available, and if you want to jam some games with us, hit us up on Patreon. I think it's only $1 to support us, and then you get in the Discord, and we will play games with you, because I personally really want to play more of this.
Yeah, I do too.
It will be fun.
And you can play we can play multiplayer. We can play 1v1, 4-player free for all, or 2v2.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't seen a 2v2 yet. I did see them playing a 4-player once. So that is definitely a thing. I just don't know how you set the tabletop simulator. That maybe you just have
Oh,
a
true.
board or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's a
I'm not
way.
sure.
There's a way.
Yeah. But either way, I'll still do a 1v1.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
All right. That was me geeking out.
It's
What else?
I don't know. It's super exciting.
Oh, it is. I'm 100% in on this.
The gameplay's so different. It's so like just thinking out a turn or two ahead, and it really is very different. And the other big thing that I am really excited about is it kind of handles the problem of getting mana screwed in games like MetaZoo and Magic, where sometimes you just don't draw your auras or lands, and then it's like, oh well, I didn't put enough in my deck, but then you did, you just got unlucky. This, you start with 3 and 3, so 3 cards from your normal deck and 3 sites, and being able to choose which one you draw each turn is essential. It's like you can't blame your loss on being mana screwed because you had the option to draw one every turn.
Yep. I forgot about that mechanic. That's another piece. It's like they said, it's old school feel with a modern day game mechanics. Cause
yeah, they were like, what are the common frustrations?
Games, yeah, those 90s games were full of crappy game design.
Yeah.
But while this feels like that, the game plays like a modern game, actually better in a lot of games.
Yeah, and like that one Frost Giant you play that occupies 4 sites.
Yeah,
like there's so many different mechanics and just things you don't think of. All right, well, if it's occupying 4 sites, how does that interact with X or Y? Or
it stomps on all 4 sites.
Right. But I don't know. It also gets stuck if it's touching one that's stuck.
Yeah, one of those things that makes it stay, which was my mistake. I could have done so much better that game. I made so many mistakes. It's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, really enjoying it. Looking forward to it. It's been fun watching all the add-ons and other cards that they've been adding to the Kickstarter as they reach different levels.
Yeah. I'm curious what this one is because they passed the latest
right
at 1.5, but they haven't sent out the notice yet. They're probably asleep right now.
It's fair. Right? Yeah, that makes sense.
So they'll do it when they wake up. It could be later in the day, and we'll probably hear. And then by that point, they'll actually, I think, have passed the next one too, because the last notice was 1.5, and I think the next goal was 1.75. They're only 20K away from, so that will probably be passed by the time they send out the next notice.
Right.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, so if as news comes out with this, we will stay on top of it and we will let you guys know.
20 days, 20 day Kickstarter. So there are 15 left or 14, I guess, as of today.
So we'll have one more podcast to remind you, but after that, you're on your own.
Won't mention it too much. This is focused on that, so we don't have to overdo it. But
no, we'll probably just be like a hey reminder.
Yep.
Wrapping up. Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about with Sorcery, or?
Nah, I think. Well, actually, there's one thing.
Yeah.
What do you think about the market for this? Like, just thinking about it, 1 set a year.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, there's going to be a lot of people buying this alpha since they've gotten so funded.
Right.
I know in the past the idea that a smaller, Kickstarter is a good thing because there's less out there in the world. If the game takes off, that's the big if, right?
Right.
In this case, I think the game is going to take off just because it's now at that level of popularity. But
sure.
Will those early sets be valuable? I don't know.
Down the road, I think so. Short term, I think it's really going to be one of those things of how the difference between the supply that was printed to demand for the orders for Kickstarter and then the demand that is increased from the Kickstarter closing to the Kickstarter cards being in people's hands.
Yeah, which is hard to grow demand when there's no cards in anyone's hands, right?
Unless they are updating the tabletop simulator version and getting more updates in there, putting new decks in there, getting people to try it, getting people playing it with their friends, so the demand goes up because more people have been playing it and want the cards.
Yeah.
I think Tabletop Simulator will be the tool to help Sorcery gain an audience.
Well, good thing they've embraced it fully. I mean, they had that
It's
out a
so
while
important.
ago.
It's so important.
And they did update the decks. The stuff that's in there. Remember how I wasn't sure if it was older
Right.
or newer? I talked to the rules people, and they're like, yeah, that is updated. That's the updated version.
Right.
The old stuff is not in the yes as of a
Right.
couple days ago. That may change because they are currently like finalizing everything testing.
And I totally understand the whole, but it's free and they don't make any money on it. But if the people are going to spend money on it, they're going to spend money on it. If they're not, they're not. And if they're not, at least they are playing the game. And I'm sure they are talking about it with, they have to talk about it with someone because they're playing against someone. So at the very least, they're getting free word of mouth and free I mean, there is interest. And just because they're not buying something right now doesn't mean down the road they won't buy.
Yeah, I mean, they do, from what I can tell, pretty much every night they have actual sorcery people in actual games with players.
Yeah.
So they are not only like they're fully embraced.
Yeah. Oh, it's
They are. It's cornerstone to their testing, to their outreach, to everything. So
oh yeah,
I think where you like have Fab where they really tried to avoid digital.
Right.
They accepted it, but they weren't embracing it fully. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think it's just.
I think these guys are.
Yeah, I think any card game that's trying to come out right now needs to have it. So,
especially with COVID.
Yeah, especially with COVID, and then you're trying to explain to your friends and get them into a card game, and then it's like, what? Oh, here, spend all this money, and then we're gonna play over webcam.
Or I'll tell you, this actually worked. You brought a good point.
Yeah.
Our buddy Iron Watchdog, who's a regular commenter and participant in the Discord community, he watched us play a game for I don't know 10 minutes because he came in at the end, and he's like, I don't know how to play this game. I'm like, it's easy. Like, it's really easy. And I was just like, this is it. And he just sat down and literally played a good game right away. You know, he didn't win because he was still figuring out like the basics, but the second game he almost won. So,
yeah, I mean it's
it's very easy to pick up, and yeah, TTS is a great intro for it because it does not take much to jump in and get going.
No, and there are of course some keywords, but
like any game.
Yeah, but they're pretty consistent to what you'd think they would be, and if it's not, it kind of just the way they word it makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I wanted to add onto that, just the market thing, because I am curious how that plays out. I'm 50-50 on it.
I don't think it is any short-term market craziness, but I do think
you're not free Tindy's 5x here.
No.
Don't think that. That's not happening.
No.
Everyone who wants it is buying it. So know that you're not going to have instant demand for the extra boxes you buy, right?
No.
At least it doesn't seem like.
Could be wrong.
But in a couple of years, the alpha sets might be worth something.
I think so. After a couple sets.
Yeah,
I think
some of the rare things they're adding to it.
I think the alt art is where the stuff is going to be.
Agreed, because that's the real collector stuff.
Yeah, collector stuff, yes. First alpha set, not for a couple of years.
Yeah, agreed. Cool. All right. Oh, you want to jump into what our regular stuff is?
Sure. Trying to think of what spicy stuff I pulled. Well, we had the 100 sub giveaway from MetaZoo. Pulled some cool stuff in there. Gonna be getting that out to the mail. And what else?
I did not anything spicy. I did get a few things in the mail. Check out the mail day. Haven't had one in a while, and I did get a few things in that were nice. I think the big one was Icelander cold foil, which isn't really that big. Well, I get some beta cards too, so check that out. But nothing out of boxes really. Actually,
I opened that arcane. That video should be coming out soon.
Yeah, what did you get in there? Anything spicy in there?
Not really.
Yeah,
it's kind of a blah.
Yeah, that was
your
plate that.
Yeah, and it's really just so I'm not ordering a bunch of commons and rares and just building out the playset because I literally had opened one box of arcane.
Yeah, I did get a legendary in my market update.
Nice.
Check that out.
Silver Palms, right?
Oh, yeah, I should probably sell that because I already have one. Well, I don't know. I gotta check the values on that again because that one was fluctuating like every
Yeah,
few
it was
days.
like
It was wild.
$35, then it was $90, and
90. Yeah, yeah. I was like, what is happening? Why? It was all in 1 week too,
yeah.
so it was very quickly happening.
My White Schwartz decks arrived.
For
Batman, Ninja, and Adventure Time.
oh yeah, that's right, that's right. And they play against each other because they're all one system, right?
Yeah, so yeah, the game works. I've not played a game yet, but plan to. Another thing I can try in tabletop. It's basically it's the same game mechanic. Think of it like there's different magic sets, but they all play magic. And then there is a standard where, like a standard rotation where, or standard format where you can mix and match everything. Like you can have multiple things in the same deck, but no one plays that mode. Then there's, I think it's called like Neo Standard, where you can only play cards from the same set. But if that or that same show or that same game, and so if there's a second set that uses, so say they came out with a Batman Ninja 2, you could use those cards. So you're not stuck to like the first set.
Right.
But they haven't done that for either Adventure Time or Batman. But I just got the trial decks to mess around with.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, that's an interesting piece of like metadata that a mixing IP game flopped when you mix the IP. People were like, I reject this reality.
Yeah, they were like, I'm going
Yeah,
to. No,
Even
we're
though
going to
I'm
make
allowed
our.
to, I
Yeah,
don't want to.
right.
Yeah.
I want
Which is
to.
interesting
Yeah.
with MTG doing all the like Lord of the Rings and Walking Dead and da 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 da, and like the. I wonder if that's going to end up being a bad move. It's good to pull in new players that are interested in that IP, but at the other side,
they want to play with those cards. If they're interested in that IP, they want to play with that IP cards. They don't want to.
But will they reject the mixture of things?
Right, exactly. No, but that's what I'm saying is. That's why I think like the Lord of the Rings draft box is going to do really well.
Yeah, because it's a consistent set. Yeah.
Right, as every card that you're playing with, you and your opponent is going to be Lord of the Rings.
That's going to be wild.
I'm going to buy a case, at least a case of Lord of the Rings draft boxes.
We'll have to draft it. It'll be fun.
Oh, it's going to be bad.
Tommy's in trouble. Tommy's in trouble.
Yeah, not thinking about it. But yeah, I think it's really cool and interesting. It's like I'm pick my show, and then and then you pick your show, and then we just battle it out. And from what I've heard, they're all pretty even. Like there are some, I've heard Batman Ninja is awful, but I don't know. There aren't too many of the ones the shows they do. It's a lot of anime, and I don't know a lot of it, most of it.
Gotcha.
I've heard of some of it.
It's not my world either.
Yeah, I've dipped my toes in, but not informed to. I looked at like the upcoming sets. I was like, do I know any of these? And I was like, not really. So I started watching one.
Interesting. So it's working because it's really just marketing for that, right?
Oh yeah, I guess. So I started. Oh man. The next, I think it's the next set is it wrong to pick up a girl in a dungeon?
Oh god, I remember. Like, oh lord.
So we watched the first couple episodes. Whew. It is hilarious, but also just really weird.
Yeah, well, that's that space. I feel like a lot of that pushes edges of comfort and weird, concepts, etc.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that it's I think it is very self-aware. And It is very humorous.
Sure. I think a lot of those are. I don't know. We'd have to talk to our other friends that are very much.
We'd have to get a professional in.
Yeah, exactly. We have a few friends that know this space. Not me though.
I don't know. We'll see. I might do a box opening of that one because I know the characters, so I could like say their names maybe.
Right.
We'll see.
What did we play this week?
We played Sorcery.
We did. What else did we play?
We did a draft. We did an Arcane Rising draft.
It was weird.
It was.
It was fun. It was fine, but it wasn't like ideal draft if you ask me.
I mean, sure. I also made a promise to play Azalea, and then I played Azalea, so I played Azalea, and it went as well as Azalea.
You did all right.
I went 2-1, yeah, or 2-3, no,
2-1. Yeah.
2-1. Yeah, we played 3 games. Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
I played Kano. It was interesting. I don't know Kano very well, so it was. Apparently, I got a lot of good cards according to the other Kano player. So, and I did well. I got 3rd place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to go Viserai, but
yeah, the Viserai player didn't actually do very well at all, did he? I don't think he placed.
I don't remember how he finished. I played against him, and it was a very close game. He got me down to like 2 or 3.
Yeah,
it was scary. He had a couple of explosive turns.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I think he had never played.
No.
He'd never played Viserai before, right? So
that was his first introduction to the cult.
That's really good then, yeah, because Viserai is definitely the hardest of the Rune Blades to pick up. Yeah. Especially in a freaking draft format.
I don't know. I would much rather play Viserai than I would play Chain in a draft.
Fair.
That's just me.
Chain? Really?
Yeah. Blood Debt's scary. I don't do it. It's not me.
Yeah, Blood Debt is scary.
For a new player or a Tommy that has never dealt with Blood Debt or played a hero that does Blood Debt, nope.
Fair. Yeah, if you're not familiar with the cycle mechanic that you need to use to take advantage of that, then yeah, I get that. But he gets free go again.
That's fine.
Like, it's pretty solid.
Oh, sure. But again, Blood Debt.
Yeah, and you're not familiar.
Right.
Once you're familiar, I think he'd be easier to draft than Viserai. But I could be wrong. I honestly don't know Viserai's cards well enough to say that. So.
Yeah. And there's a lot of pumpkin you can do.
Yeah, I played CNC this weekend. It was a round robin. Four of us showed up for it. It was fun. Got my butt kicked. I brought my dash deck, and I had one close battle against Bravo, and the other 2 were pretty much blowouts, but they were very experienced players that are using the decks they're taking to be calling. So, and they both tried to PQ the invite PQ, and one of them got 2nd place at our shop. So he's very, very good with his deck. That was a painful match. It was funny. It was fun, but it was painful. Turn 1, he played 7 cards, had a double draw, and it was like the perfect draw. It was just so gross, and it didn't really stop until I was dead. I did not give in. I defended my way all the way through, and I actually did get him under 20 life, which I felt like, okay, at least I did something. But but I was not doing any of the things I should have been doing to actually win. Like, I just didn't have any cards left. The damage output on that deck is insane. It had to have been average 17 per turn.
That's wild.
Yeah, I really do think I'm marking it down here officially for the internet. I think Viserai takes Pro Tour. I think it does. Because the ceiling is so high, and the Pro Tour is the top player, so they'll be able to hit that ceiling pretty consistently, right? And so I really think there's a very good chance. And the meta's already shifting to Prism, so by the time Pro Tour comes around, Prism will be sitting at the top and everyone's targeting it. So I think Prism is the other one that has a really good shot at it, but I think she'll be so targeted that she won't.
Well, she's targeted. She's linear, so you know what she's going to do, and more predictable, and has a lower... It's a very good deck, but it has a lower ceiling than Viserai.
Yeah, and if it's not Viserai, it's going to be a complete surprise deck, is my opinion. Like someone no one saw coming. They just have tech no one's seen yet, and it just comes out of nowhere. And
it'll be there.
Doesn't know how to react, which is possible. I hear people are doing that. Although I don't know. You figure some of it would have gotten figured out by other players by now.
You want to hear my hot take?
Go for it.
Dorinthia.
What? No. Why?
I'm just saying, just throwing it out there.
Just guessing.
Yeah. So when it happens, I'm gonna be like, boom.
Huh? I was right.
Called it.
Based on absolutely no data. Why?
But I called it.
Could. If it's one of those secret texts no one's figured out. I just don't think there's enough.
No, I'm not being serious.
For there to be secret
But that's my pointing at the fences.
There you go. We'll see. Cool. Anything else we want to go into our videos and such? What did we record this week?
Well, I'm gonna put out a video of us talking draft about Arcane Rising and opening some Arcane Rising, and then what else do we have planned? We had some things planned. Now I'm blanking.
Definitely the market update.
Market update Thursday.
Sorcery has already come out, so that's not in the.
Right. Go watch our Sorcery video where we played Sorcery.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what other videos come out. I'm sure there'll be something.
Yeah,
they'll do something on the post Pro Quest season and post Indie season because the stats are starting to come out. Some very interesting matchups, very unusual behaviors or things happen. One of the videoed or camera captured matches got a DQ finalization, so not sure what happened there. If you know, leave a comment. Let me know. Because I did ask around and no one's talking about what happened. Sure. I'm guessing it's all still rumor, and that's why no one wants to officially say anything.
Right.
So I'm curious, but they just cut the video feed and the announcers were talking, and then after about 10 minutes or so, we got an announcement that Tell won via disqualification. So not sure why.
We'll figure it out.
Yep. And I'll talk about whatever we find out from Indianapolis.
Yeah.
He's playing Starvo.
Yeah. It's a good deck.
Ugh. I thought he was going to go Prism, but I guess he decided.
Yeah, Prism.
Prism's good. Prism's really good.
Yeah, I know. But it's... let me walk down this road. Let me walk down this road. At least Starvo is, let me flip a coin. Let me flip a coin.
I was going to say, I don't know that Starvo's better in that regard. I think Starvo's worse in that regard because there's one thing that you're doing the whole time.
No. Sometimes you're oaken holding, sometimes you're crippling crushing, sometimes...
Nah,
I'm just kidding.
Trying to do one
I'm
thing.
just kidding. They just have different names.
Smashy smash hit. Starvo activate. Smashy smash hit. Captain Planet.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a little more organized here. I've been thinking about doing, if anyone's curious on how to store cards, I was thinking about putting together a little video about how I organize and store cards, because I am pretty happy with how my collection's looking right now.
That'd be good. Good content. And then I guess, what did we do this previous week? We put out, obviously, Sorcery. Did a ProQuest Week 4 data. Did a market update.
Mail day.
We talked about. Yeah.
Showed off our Blitz decks.
And Katsai. Yep, that was fun.
100 sub giveaways.
And that's it, really.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that does it for me.
Same here.
I'm kind of just... It's been a week. I'm just exhausted.
A lot going on.
But yeah, I don't have anything else. I think we can wrap it up.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and follow us on Patreon. Join us in the Discord. Join us for $1. Hop in the Patreon. Join us on Discord. Play some games with us. Talk some games with us. And until next time, I'll see you soon.
Have a good one.